recover. Saturday, Sunday they would train both days, and then Monday they would recover. Okay. It wasn't ideal because you did have two sections, so a Saturday and Sunday the players would come in. When players are coming in from Windsor, Ottawa, Sudbury to train Saturday and Sunday, they pretty well had to make it 2 days. But you still have those days in between to allow. How are you going to prepare your players as parents? Prepare them the day before, then prepare them the day off, and then prepare them to recover the day after when they're training up to 5 times per week. If you take a look at that Wednesday might be a competition day, but it's also a preparation for the next day, and it's also a recovery from the day before. So how are you as parents going to feed them and water them the right way? And how are the muscles going to prepare for competition if they're recovering from competition the day before? So in these particular age groups, there's a real risk of overtraining when we ramp up in the spring towards outdoor. We have to take a look at putting intervals in between training so that your players can rest. Just remember, you're not mini adults. You're perfect little people. We have to treat you as little people, not as adults. We just can't take an adult program and scale it down a little bit and say that's great. We have to come up with training programs to avoid injury through overtraining. Now, it's difficult. Previously, it was almost impossible because we didn't have any indoor soccer fields. The city, of course, won't release any good quality fields to us, so we get patches of open grass. Previously, we used to have to try and prepare for the outdoor season on patches of grass. Now, fortunately, we rent the indoor fields through the winter and through the spring. We also have access to fields 1 and fields 5, so we do have the ability to train on turf in the preseason. But nevertheless, there's still more kicks teams, and also that other club we have in Oshawa. There's more kicks teams.
There's only one club.
What's that?
There's only one club in Oshawa.
Are they done?
Yeah.
There's always only been one club. Anyway, realistically, what you're looking at is everybody wants a piece of field 5. You can't all get it. So in the preseason, that is when my greatest fear is that you're going to develop injuries. Remember we said earlier in one of the slides, 2.5 times more injuries occur preseason and 5 times more injuries in postseason. So as parents and coaches, you have to take a look at the training programs for the preseason to make sure that we're not ramping up too aggressively. Okay? All right, now we're going to be finished in 5 minutes, so I'm going to open up the floor to any questions. There's no such thing as a deaf question. Any questions?
Yeah.
Where do you fall with multiple sports? Say, like,
It was
definitely
definitely
play hockey and soccer, basketball and soccer. You know, there is sort of a lot of hours involved. So say they're playing 10 hours of hockey, there's an academy and training.
What age? As a parent, definitely. As a coach, definitely. And as a physio,
Just really what you were saying.
yeah. Because the effect on
somebody's
the
got his
kids
hand somewhere.
is the same with hockey training as it is with soccer.
Right.
We're using different muscles and the training methods are a little different, but it's exactly the same. Okay? One of the most famous coaches in the NCAA, Anson Dorrance, coaches the North Carolina Tar Heels. He's one of the most winning coaches in soccer in the NCAA. And he has, first of all, no problem with his athletes taking a part of the season off. In other words, part of the postseason, part of the preseason. And he has no problem with players doing different sports. People are now looking at cross-training as being a good way of staying fit. So I know as a coach, I used to pull my hair out when I had hair, when I had my hockey players playing rep hockey who used to disappear in October and they would come in sporadically for training. But you can't ask your child to perform at a high level in soccer, a high level in hockey, and also do well academically in school. You know, if we're burning the candle at both ends in terms of training.
So just on that, Ron and I just had a discussion outside. Dave Cueto was there as well. We're going to work something like this into our program.
Yep.
So instead of being football all the time, we may do something like on an academy session, and this isn't out there yet. It might happen. Ask you guys to watch a game on Saturday morning, and then come back with specific questions answered about, so if you're a midfield defender, come back about what you've seen about midfield defenders in that game, right? So it gives you a little bit of break off the field, but you're still engaged in watching the game at a high level, and you can still apply it to what we're doing with the midfield defender, the striker, the ball mastery clinics, right? But it gives you guys that little break. So just to let you guys on, the parents, we're watching that in the kids to see if the overtraining is happening, and then we're going to look at giving them those types of breaks in there as well.
It wasn't until I was working with the district program with the Durham Region Soccer Association a few years ago that I was exposed to ultimate frisbee. And we would have players playing ultimate frisbee at the Dome in Whitby before we arrived for our training, and I always just say, oh, what is this stuff? And I actually stopped to take a look at ultimate frisbee. And I'm thinking, wow, as a soccer coach, this is fabulous. Because you've got players that are running in both directions, offense, defense. They're looking at spreading wide, they're looking at zoning in, they're looking at man-to-man marking, they're looking at getting away from a player. They've got defensive responsibilities, offensive responsibilities. And this is a great game to take the stress off while they're training and learning at the same time, and it does involve quite a bit of running. So I used to do ultimate frisbee with my own team within the confines of the gym, and the kids loved it. So it's a change from the usual routine, but it's still good training. Okay.
John, just a quick time check because I got to get downstairs for something.
Go ahead.
I was just going to touch base back with the ACL. I was just told that number one, and also another key reason why people get ACL injuries, especially females, is on turf, it's recommended never to wear cleats. That's what my surgeon had told me.
You'll find that a lot of the turf shoes that they recommend now are very much like going from the old golf shoes, which used to have the 6 spikes, to now the new golf shoe, which has just a tiny little spikes. Okay, I played on turf for a number of years, and I just had indoor training shoes. Never used cleats indoors. Okay, and the reason is, what does it give you? It gives you traction. Yes. As soon as you put your foot onto the turf, your foot is fixed, but things still happen to the rest of your body. And if you take the tibia and you take the femur, the shin bone and the thigh bone, and you bend it and then you twist it, something's going to happen.
I would recommend that if it was me coaching, I would recommend you never wear outdoor shoes on turf. I know it's approved for it, and a lot of people like it and all that kind of stuff. If it was me, I would tell my team to never wear them, to wear turf shoes.
So ladies, gents, you've got team training, I think it starts.
Well, thank you, John, very much for your class today.
I'll see you in 2 weeks. We're going to be taking a look at how you actually manage an injury after it's occurred. Okay? Don't forget to pick up reminders. Good luck with the training.
Remember? I asked Fiona if she had.
They leave the reminders, right?
Yeah, just put them on the side there.